Hi, I'm David, and I'm so happy that you're joining me for another Mathnasium monthly math movie for the month of March. We're going to start off fun stuff with March. We looked at this last month. We just had movie night last night. We watched Mr. Peabody and Sherman. It's total fun. I didn't even know that was a new movie. I used to watch Mr. Peabody when I was a little kid on Saturday morning cartoons. So that was fun. We had probably, I don't know, 25 kids maybe come last night, so that was great fun. Movie night, watch out for those. Parents love the movie nights because it's 2 hours where we'll take care of your kids for you. Coming up this month, we have National Oreo Day. We love to celebrate National Oreo Day because, I don't know, they're cookies. So we'll be doing that. We have end of daylight saving coming up. If you don't know about daylight saving, it's pretty interesting. We shift the clock around, mainly so in the winter time when there's not a lot of daylight, we get more daylight in the evening when people like to have more daylight instead of early in the morning when I don't really care if there's daylight. So that's gonna happen, and we're gonna shift clocks around. That's kind of fun. Pi Day is coming up. Big national math holiday party time for Pi Day. We're not gonna do a different kind of party event. We're just gonna be celebrating Pi Day during the day because it's on a Friday, so we're gonna have sessions. But there's gonna be fun activities. We're gonna have refreshments and cookies and all sorts of fun stuff. So do a session, do some Pi stuff. Just come on in if you wanna just do some Pi stuff. We'll make room for you. So do that. We got High Five Day coming up. We got April Fool's sneaking next month, but it's on the calendar because it's right there. And then Sudoku, we're gonna be doing Sudoku for a few days coming up towards the end of March. So that's a good time. Jenny and I are gonna be on vacation, so you won't see us around, but Aziz is gonna handle the center, Huang's gonna handle things, and everything's gonna work great.
First vacation together that's not a business trip since 1999.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but we've never gone on a vacation, Jenny and me together, that wasn't like a Mathnasium convention or something business related. So we're just gonna go, and just the two of us, and have some fun. So that's that. Next up, I don't know if you noticed my shirt. I've worn this shirt before. It's kind of a joke, you know, math is important, or English is important, but math is importanter, which isn't proper English, but kind of the point is that the English doesn't really matter too much because math is so much more important. And I'm all for that. Math is important. It's how we describe how the universe operates, right? So what could be more deep than that? When aliens come and visit us or we visit them, we're gonna be probably able to communicate through math. You know, we all hopefully will be doing similar sorts of things with math. So it's a language of the physical universe. So that's pretty cool. But, and this is a big but, and I emphasize this with students on the first session, that English is important. Reading is really, 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 really important. And I don't want to downplay reading. I want all of you to read a lot and like to read because, well, I'll just give you a story. I just started taking college classes. I went back to college. I'm learning how to fix cars. I have an old Corvette, and I thought it might be fun to take automotive service classes at the community college. And guess what I had to do on the very first day? I had to go buy a textbook. And this textbook, I'm gonna put a picture up here in a second, 9.6 pounds it weighed. It's huge. It's got like 1,500 pages. And that's the way that adults, civilized adults, one of the ways that we get new information into our brain is by reading a book, because books can be passed around and edited and made the information in there is good that we can share it and everybody can kind of learn the same information. It's a great way to learn. Reading is like a skill that helps you learn all the other skills or most of the other skills, because if you can pick up a book and read it and get the knowledge in your brain, you've learned something. So I'm gonna kind of throw some photos up. I'm probably a little bit weird about reading because I read a lot all over the place. I do math too, but I like to learn stuff, and reading is kind of how I do it. So I read, I have a book next to my bed. This is the Sagas of Icelanders. It's a huge book. I tore the first part off just so I could carry that around, but it's a lot of fun. So I usually read right before bed. On the kitchen counter, I sit there at the bar. I usually read a news magazine or my homework from my automotive service class. I have other magazines for like hobbies, like my Corvette. I like to learn stuff about space programs, so I usually have like fun books out there too that I can kind of browse through. In my shop where I work on my car, I got repair manuals. You've got to read a manual in order to be able to learn how to fix something. I also learn a lot on YouTube, so just a shout out there. That's another great way to get knowledge in your head, is to watch somebody do it. Even if they're not doing it right, you might still learn something. In the bathroom, hey, who doesn't spend time in the bathroom? I don't like to waste time, and if I'm just sitting around, I might as well read something. So I have a bunch of magazines. I built a special magazine rack conveniently to hold them all. And so I do a lot of reading. I read science magazines and woodworking magazines and things like that. As a kid, I read lots of books. I read the classics, Jules Verne, and books like David Copperfield and Tale of Two Cities and stuff like that. That kind of got me into reading books. I also discovered that you could go to a drugstore and they had like how-to books, like how to draw with calligraphy, how to learn Latin, how to do architectural drawings, and they walk you through it. And as a kid, I was like, wow, I could just go buy a book and learn a skill and make myself smarter. So I always thought that was really cool. And then of course, get to college. It's mainly you go buy a textbook, you read it, you do the exercises, and then you have a class where there's a professor and you talk about stuff and he'll explain stuff. But a lot of college is reading a textbook and studying and reviewing and all that stuff. Later on, as a software engineer, I read a lot of O'Reilly books, if you're familiar with those, to learn the new computer technologies, and I did a lot of reading online now, of course, on the computer. I'm pretty curious and I like to do things, so Make Magazine is one of my favorites. So I've been a Make Magazine subscriber since the start. I like to read about history now, so I got these collection of American history books. So I'm kind of going through this slowly, but that's one way that I can get smarter and maybe become a better citizen, right, if I know about our history. When I travel, I like to read Why Be Bored in the Car? Why be bored in an airport? Have a book. So I have a Kindle, usually something there, or bring some magazines along with me. And I'm also, no surprise, I read the manual. So whenever I get something, I read the manual. When I was 14 years old, I got an Apple II Plus computer. If you don't know what that is, look it up. And I read the manual. I read the reference manual that had circuit diagrams and explained all of the assembly language code and pinouts for the I/O controllers and just all sorts of stuff. I'm a reader. So you should read too. Reading is fundamental. That was a thing that we used to have when we were kids. They'd come around to the schools and give you books because it's so important. So keep reading. That's awesome. That's my public service announcement. Now, kind of related to that, one of those magazines maybe you saw in my bathroom was Scientific American. And there was an article that I just read in Scientific American about a very, 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 very large prime number that was just discovered. And so that's going to be our number of the month. The number of the month is 2 to the power, this is an exponent, 136,279,841. That's how many times you multiply 2 times itself. You do it 136,279,841 times, and you get this huge, huge number. It's an even number because it's times 2 over and over again. And then you subtract 1 from it. And this number is the largest prime number that we know of. Just discovered, just recently, big news article. It was discovered by a local engineer. He works at NVIDIA. They make graphics cards, which is used for supercomputing and AI and all sorts of stuff. It's a way to crunch numbers. He lives in San Jose, so pretty cool. Luke Durant. He basically enlisted a bunch of supercomputers to prove that that number is a prime number. That was basically the hard part, was proving it's a prime number. Why do we have to write it like this? That's a funny way to write a number. Well, if you actually calculate that out and subtract 1, you're going to get a number that's this many digits long, 41,024,320 digits long. That's how many digits it is. 41 million digits. I have a binder over there. I should have got it. It's the first million digits of pi, and it's little teeny numbers, and it's like page after page after page. A million digits is a lot of digits, and this one's 41 million of them. So it's pretty cool. If you were able to count the number of atoms in the whole universe, that number would be 80 digits long. And this one's 41 million digits long. I don't know how they do it. It's just amazing. To get a prime number, and you can't even write the number down, but somehow they can prove that it's prime. Those numbers that are of the form 2 to some number, some integer, -1 are called Mersenne primes, if they happen to be a prime. That's a good way to test for primes. It doesn't get you all the primes, and it doesn't always give you a prime, but it's a pretty good way to kind of filter them out. And there's sort of the first few examples of varying n and raising 2 to that power and subtracting 1. And it also has to be a prime, so that helps. You only have to pick the prime values in the exponent, which tells me that 136,279,841 is also a prime number. So that's pretty cool. All right, those prime numbers are also happen to be perfect numbers, where the sum of all of its prime factors also equals the number, not just the product of the prime factors. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's the number of the month. Some crazy number, but it's now the biggest prime number that we know of. Pretty cool. Let's move on to, let's do student of the month. So student of the month was actually mentioned last month, but we had a couple of suggestions. This student was got some great comments from a couple of instructors in particular, but I went back, I looked at all the session summaries that your parents are getting now, and just been getting all sorts of wonderful things to say about the student from all of his instructors. And I've interacted with this student too. I'll just jump right to it. It's Pratheek Konduru. He is he's eager to learn, I think is a good summary. Super eager to learn. He's got a great attitude. We talked about, Jenny talked about in the video, growth mindset, and that's the idea that you can learn, and it's you can get through something, and if something's hard, that's just a challenge to get through it, and now you're smarter and you're better. So that's all about him. He was super eager to get to pre-algebra. He's in 7th grade. We started with checkup 4. I don't want to get too personal with Pratheek, but just the fact that he's done checkup 4, checkup 5, checkup 6, and now he's doing algebra readiness, which is pre-algebra, all in like a year and a half. So he's really been cranking through it. He really wanted to get to pre-algebra early. So good job, Pratheek. You're our student of the month. You're going to get one of those. We are going to hang your name up in the window, and you get student of the month yard sign. Woohoo! So awesome. Oh, and you get 25 punch card to spend in the reward cabinet. So congratulations, Pratheek. Let's do the estimating jar. The estimating jar this month, that's the winner, in honor of President's Day, President's Week now. In February, we filled the jar with presidents in coin form. So it was a bunch of coins. This is just when I buy something, I put the coins in my pocket. I hardly ever use coins to buy stuff. I just collect the coins, I throw them in a jar, I cash them in eventually, and deal with them that way. But I look for old coins too, because they're valuable. So the idea here now is you had to guess the value of the coins, not how many coins. And the actual number was $21.81. So the winner gets $21.81, which is a pretty good haul. And the numbers were kind of all over the place, and some people just put a number and didn't tell me dollars or cents. And there was a bunch that were really close too. So Ainsley She got really close. She guessed about 25. Pratheek, actually, our student of the month, got really close. Guessed 20.39, but the closest of all was Leyla M. She guessed $21.32. She was only 49 cents off. So Leyla, congratulations. You won the estimating jar this month. Woo! Good job. Okay, let's do the raffle, and then we're gonna have a special visitor. Jenny's gonna close out today, and she has something exciting to announce to everybody. So let's draw the raffle. We're gonna do 3 of these. First one is Kalvin Chow. Kalvin Chow, where is my money? Kalvin Chow, you just won that $100 bill right there. Good job, Kalvin Chow. And let's do the second place. Second place is going to be the 25 punch card, and we'll do this one. Kalvin Chow. Kalvin, I drew your name twice. What are the odds of that? You are a double winner today. You're going to get 25 punch cards and the $100 bill. How many other? I wonder how many cards Kalvin put in this month. What if I drew his name a third time? Let's do this one, and it's not Kalvin Chow. It's Sebastian M. I'm guessing Sebastian Miller. So good job, Sebastian. You won the 10 punch cards. So I'm kind of curious. I might dig through this and see just how many cards did Kalvin put in. I can draw his name twice. Maybe he like dumped in a whole bunch, but we'll see. Maybe I'll put that down in the comments, and I'll let you know. So now we're gonna switch over to our special guest star, and that's gonna be Jennifer. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna use the magical transition technique. We're gonna go like this.
Hello, everybody. We're going to be starting a new activity at Mathnasium for the student rewards. Students, when you come in for your next session, any saved cards in your binder aren't going to be there. But don't panic. They're all written on your student record that your instructor has access to. So for example, Elena Wang, I think you have 120 cards. I just counted them.
Cards?
Yep, I'm going to recount to make sure you didn't miss out on any. And they're all in your student record rather than in your binder. So your binders will be a little lighter. And for the last 13 and a half years, we started an idea one of our first instructors had, our very first instructor had, that it's smart to save. So when you finish a punch card and you decide to save instead of spend, you get a Smarties because it's smart to save. And then, because it was kind of funny, we added Dum-Dums along with the Smarties. But over the years, that's been a lot of candy. And parents, we've been listening. But we couldn't think of any other idea of what could we give away for fun that just, is cheap, that's not candy. Well, what we're doing is we're now going to take the saved punch cards, record them on your record, so you're not going to store them in your binder. Instead, you're going to take your card. Be sure you have your first and last name. This card, for example, just says Audrey. We might have multiple Audreys. I know with 250 students, we have a lot of duplicates. So legible, first and last name, please. You're gonna put it in this box. And then at the end of the month, we're gonna draw 5 names to win 10 punch cards. So that one saved card can become 10 punch cards. The saved card, it's gonna go in here, but again, your instructor's gonna put it on your record. So your count of cards is gonna go up. You can always spend right away. There is still candy bars and cookies and some junk food in the reward cabinet, but you have to buy it. It's not gonna just be offered to you for finishing a card. And I think everyone's gonna be happy with that. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. We don't need to worry about saving all those cards, and we'll have a new fun chance to win at the end of each month. So that's gonna cover everything. Again, don't worry, don't panic when you don't see your cards. We have record. And just ask your instructor how many you have. And if you spend them, they will just decrement that amount. Have a great afternoon. Bye.
What?
Can I start over?